was a kid, I wanted to be either a nurse or an interior designer when I grew up. I don't remember why I wanted to be either of those things, but I do know that as an adult, those would not be good career choices for me.
Hi, my name is Juliana, and when I was a kid, I wanted to be a knight because they're awesome and they can fight other stuff. Yeah.
I wanted to be a bus driver when I grew up because I thought it would be fun.
Hello, I'm Kayla. When I grow up, I want to be a psychologist because I like helping people.
And when I grew up, I wanted to be a teacher, so I could be just like my very favorite teacher and coach. And guess what? I became a teacher and a coach.
Hi, my name is Shanna, and when I was young, I wanted to be a real estate agent because I thought it would be fun to hang out in show homes all day.
Hi, my name is Cheyenne. I want to be a baker because I love to make people smile.
Hi, my name is Michelle, and when I was little, I wanted to be a hairstylist because I wanted to help people look and feel beautiful.
Hi guys, my name is Tuba, and when I grow up, I would like to be an English teacher because East or West, English is the best.
Hello, my name is Shemaya. I wanted to be a paramedic when I was a kid. It's because I love working with people, and yeah.
Hi, my name is Candace, and when I grow up, I want to be a food scientist because science is cool.
I'm Tennille, and when I was little, I wanted to be a teacher because I wanted to help people learn.
Hi, my name is Pacey, and when I grow up, I want to be a cook because I love food.
Growing up, I wanted to be a pharmacist because my high school job, I worked at PharmaSave and absolutely idolized my boss, who was a pharmacist himself.
When I was young, I wanted to be a police officer when I grew up. I wanted to help people, and I also have always liked driving fast.
Hi, my name is Sydney, and when I was younger, I wanted to be a cook because I enjoyed being in the kitchen with my mom and watching her cook. And here I am, a Red Seal certified cook.
When I grew up, I wanted to be a figure skater, and then I started coaching figure skating and loved coaching and teaching, and so I went into education and became a teacher.
My name is Terry Fredette, and I'm superintendent with Greater Saskatoon Catholic Schools. And when I was asked what I wanted to be when I grew up, it would have been a marine biologist. I thought their job was to feed and swim with killer whales and dolphins, and I thought, what an awesome job that would be.
Hello, and welcome to Connected Young Women Exploring Careers, powered by SAS Power. As we gather here today, we acknowledge we're on Treaty 6 territory and homeland of the Métis. We pay our respects to the First Nations and Métis ancestors of this place and reaffirm our relationship with one another. I want to welcome students from across Saskatchewan joining us today. For the past 2 decades, the Saskatoon Industry Education Council has bridged the gap between Saskatchewan school systems and employers, providing experiential learning and career development opportunities to help nurture the workforce of tomorrow. Last year, the SIEC worked with over 30,000 youth, 450 business and post-secondary representatives, and more than 3,300 educators and career practitioners. We host over 40 events and programs every year, including our Skills Bootcamp, which provides students with hands-on experience in various careers, our Spotlight on Careers, which provides students with an insight into various career paths, the Summer Youth Internship, which is a 6-week paid internship where students gain work experience in construction, manufacturing, automotive, and culinary industries while earning money and high school credits. And so if you want to learn more about our programs, please follow us on our socials to stay up to date or check out our website. So before we get started, I want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors of our Connected event tonight. So the SIEC, the Government of Saskatchewan, SAS Power, Nutrien, WorkSafe Saskatchewan, Briske's Butcher Block, Hometown Homes, McDougall Golly, and many individuals who donated money towards the Connected Empowerment Fund. I also want to give a shout out to our Connected Committee, Terry Fredette from Greater Saskatoon Catholic Schools, Peggy Matilla Baines from Prairie Spirit School Division, Deb Davies, Aaron Briske from Briske's Butcher Block, Riddell Genway from Hometown Homes, Alicia Robb from Saskatchewan Cancer Agency, as well as Shanna Stewart, Megan Unra, Janet Uchas-Hart, Stacey Hansen, Melanie Lavallee-Usselman, Jill Conkin, and Michelle Damage from the SIEC. Without this fantastic team, this event would not be possible. So as I mentioned, Nutrien is one of the gracious sponsors of this event. So please welcome Vanessa Calian, who's joining us from Nutrien.
Good evening. I'm honored to be here representing Nutrien and connecting to the next generation of women who will be part of our community and, for some, our industry. It is important to acknowledge that I'm joining you virtually from Treaty 6 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis. I encourage all of you to consider what having that privilege to share this land has meant for you personally and for your ancestors. As the world's largest provider of crop inputs and services, we are on a mission to feed the future, and we do so in alignment with our company's purpose, to grow the world from the ground up. To make that possible, we recognize the need to share our histories, experiences, ideas, and talents of people from all corners of our community. We support the Saskatoon Industry Education Council and this event because we recognize that women are underrepresented in our industry and the workforce in general. Nutrien is working towards changing this. Like many in the room, we're here to be a resource, a mentor, a champion as you pursue your chosen career path. At Nutrien, we have many careers you can engage in, from accounting to engineering and everything in between, even careers you haven't heard of. Check out our website at nutrien.com/careers to get a sense of what type of roles we have to offer. I encourage you to make meaningful connections today. Ask questions to help shape what you want your future to be, and to think about how you will grow the world from the ground up. Please enjoy the conference, and thank you to the SIEC for organizing to bring us together and to share our stories.
We serve a big world with growing needs, and we see the big picture, that a world with over 7.5 billion people today and nearly 10 billion by 2050 needs to grow more food, and to grow food more efficiently. Nutrien will be there to help. We have more than 20,000 people committed to making sustainable food production a reality by working with growers to deliver bigger, healthier harvests each year. Nutrien is the world's largest integrated provider of crop inputs, insights, and services, with more than 24 production facilities, over 1,600 retail locations, and distribution centers, investments, and partnerships on 6 continents. Where crops are growing, Nutrien is growing too, because in the big picture, we're working together to grow our world from the ground up.
All right, so thank you, Vanessa, for joining us, and thank you to Nutrien for sponsoring our event tonight. So if you don't follow us on Instagram, you'll want to give us a follow, as anyone who participates in our challenges will have the chance to win some prizes. So you can hop on Instagram, and our account is at Saskatoon IEC. So before we began the event, we posted our first Instagram challenge. So head over to Instagram and tell us how we can cheer on, encourage, and lift up those around us. So if you're doing that, I just want to take a few minutes to thank both our students and our mentors who chose to join us tonight. I want everyone to remember that every young girl and mentor here tonight has an interesting story, and we can all learn from one another. As you heard in our intro video, everyone has hopes and dreams about what they want to be when they grow up. As we embark on our career journeys, many of us change our minds, take different paths, and hit a lot of roadblocks along the way. This event is designed to help students learn about the interesting careers the mentors have, while discovering that it's okay to change your mind and no one's career journey is straight. I changed my mind many times, dropped out of university, went back to university, earned a journey person status just last year, and currently have 2 careers I love, but I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. So my hope for tonight is both the mentors and the students leave feeling inspired, empowered, and excited about their future, whatever that may look like. So I would now like to welcome our MC. Erin Briske is the co-owner of Briske's Butcher Block in Saskatoon. Erin holds a degree in English literature from the University of Saskatchewan and has enjoyed a diverse career in media and nonprofit sectors and took the plunge into being a full-time business owner in 2017. She believes that learning is I lost my spot. Julie's learning is a lifelong objective, and entrepreneurship provides an opportunity through which she can continue her education and share her skills with others. Her community-minded approach is what drives her to create opportunities to support the community that supports her business. In her spare time, she enjoys reading, spin class, and spending time with her husband, Andrew, and their cats, Q and Mabel, and dog, Sophie. So please welcome the lovely Erin Briske.
Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to be here with you this evening, and I'm delighted to MC Connected. Thanks so much for that kind introduction, Michelle. Tonight, we are going to hear from two spotlight speakers, Kelly Anthill and Michelle Vandevoorde, who are very excited to share their career paths with us. We ask that when they're speaking that you keep your mic muted and your camera turned off, but questions are most certainly encouraged, so please feel free to put your questions in the chat. I've also been asked to remind you, although I know we will all be very respectful, to please keep your questions and comments on topic and appropriate. And I've also been asked to remind you that any inappropriate comments will result in the removal from the event. The other thing we're going to do this evening is participate in breakout rooms. So in the breakout rooms, we want you to turn both your camera and your mic on so you can share and participate, because you have important things to say, both students and mentors, and we want you to share. Mentors, please take the opportunity to share your career paths and any lessons you've learned along the way. And students, please take the opportunity to learn from these amazing women and don't be shy. My career path has been diverse and varied. Like Michelle said, I still sometimes don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I've worked in media, which led me to work for a nonprofit, and now I co-own a few businesses. Ironically, I am a vegetarian who owns a butcher shop, seriously. But one of the biggest challenges of my working life, it hasn't mattered what job I've had, has been learning when to say yes and when to say no. I know that seems really basic, but I definitely have a tendency to say yes and to be agreeable and to take on more. No's are especially challenging. And I know I'm not the only one who struggles saying no, because a yes tends to make people happy, right? And no's, well, not so much. But no's are important. A very wise woman named Michelle Obama had some advice about saying no that I really take to heart, and I try to think of daily or whenever I do have to tell someone no. She said, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit here, saying no to something just allows you to say yes to something else. And that really resonates with me. I try to remember that every no simply means that I am opening a door for a different opportunity, or for extra time or more money or added energy to dedicate to something else that aligns a little better with my values or my needs or my goals. Because it is really hard for me to say no, and I'm sure I'm not the only one here. I remember early in my career, I would have clients call and ask me for things, and I couldn't bring myself to say no to them right away. Even if I knew that the answer was going to be no, I would say, let me look into that for you. And then I would hang up the phone and wait, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and call them back and tell them no. It was incredibly time consuming, but it was my process. And after years of practice, seriously, like I used to look in the mirror and just practice saying no firmly but kindly. I find it much easier just to say no straight away if I need to. So practice your no's. If it doesn't align with you mentally, physically, spiritually, or emotionally, it's okay to say no. You certainly don't have to say yes to every opportunity, but practice your yeses too and learn to trust yourself when it's right to say yes. Whether you call it your intuition or your gut, maybe it's a legal pad of pros and cons, or maybe it's leaning into your faith. Whether everything in you wants to say no, but deep down it's going to be good for you to step out of your comfort zone and join in, or whether, like me, you tell the person on the other end of the phone that you're going to have to call them back just so you can take a little time to formulate your response. Learn when is right for you to say yes and when is right for you to say no. With practice, we all improve, right? And I know it seems pretty basic, but sometimes both yes and no are really hard answers to give. With that said, I am very pleased that you all, both mentors and students, said yes to attending tonight. And I know for many of you students, this might be the first networking opportunity that you've had. And this is a wonderful thing to practice, how to make connections with others in a professional setting. So thank you so much for saying yes and joining in. And on that note, I would like to introduce you to our first spotlight speaker, Kelly Anthill. Kelly is the Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer at Saskatchewan Blue Cross. Kelly was born and raised in Saskatoon and has a Bachelor of Commerce degree from the University of Saskatchewan. In 1999, she earned her Chartered Professional Accounting designation. Kelly's financial acumen has taken her across Saskatchewan, Alberta, and around the globe to Australia and Ireland, where she has worked in both the public and private sectors. Kelly has a large breadth of experience, and in her tenure with Saskatchewan Blue Cross, she has led or leads many areas of the business: accounting, underwriting, benefits and administration, life and disability services, and human resources. Kelly also enjoys being active in the community, previously serving as a board member with Big Sisters of Saskatoon and as a member of the audit committee for Sask Culture. Kelly lives in Saskatoon with her husband and 2 daughters. Kelly's family keeps her busy, and she enjoys being a fan and volunteer coach for her children's activities. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you so much, Erin. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I participated in this amazing event as a mentor last year, and I was really inspired by last year's speakers. So I was really honored when Michelle asked if I could participate as a speaker this year. As Erin said, my name is Kelly Anthill, and my current role is Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer at Saskatchewan Blue Cross. I thought I would start by sharing a little about how I ended up in my current role. I can remember when I was in a similar position to you, thinking about what I wanted to do when I finished high school. My desire to go to university stemmed more from a desire to play basketball than anything else. And in order to play basketball at the University of Saskatchewan, I actually had to go to the University of Saskatchewan. And while I knew I wanted to go to university, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was done. So now I had to decide, what am I going to take when I go? I knew I didn't want to be a teacher. I knew I didn't want to do anything science related. I was pretty good at math, so I applied to the College of Commerce. So this is the first time, but probably not the last tonight, that I will age myself. You will all know the Edwards School of Business at the University of Saskatchewan. This used to be called the College of Commerce back in my day. Once I was at university and playing basketball, I had to pick a major. And again, I was unsure of which direction I wanted to go, but I wanted to stay in Saskatoon. So when I went to see what jobs were available in Saskatoon at that time, the key source of information back then, dating myself round 2, was the newspaper. There were a number of job postings for accountants in Saskatoon, so that was how I determined my major. I was going to be an accountant. After my second year of university and playing basketball at the U of S, I wasn't so sure that I was doing what I loved, so I decided to take a year off school and work full-time. I worked retail for a year in a denim store and got some great work experience before I went back to school. In my last year of university, I was fortunate to get a summer job with Deloitte, and this is the job that would influence my path to where I am today. I worked that summer for Deloitte and then started with them full-time when I finished university. I worked towards my Chartered Accounting designation, now called a Certified Professional Accountant. And once I had my designation, the world opened up for me, literally. While still with Deloitte, I was presented an opportunity for the summer of 1999 to work in Sydney, Australia for 3 months. But I had to commit to the summer of 1999 and the summer of 2000, and I had to make my decision quickly. I said yes on the spot because I didn't want to lose an opportunity to someone else. And then my anxiety and fear set in. This would be the first time I would be away from my family for that long. I had no idea if I would be good at the job. I didn't know if I would like the people I would work with, if they would like me. There was a lot for me to worry about. So I had to do a lot of self-talk telling myself that even if it was awful, it was only for 3 months. I could do anything for 3 months. Of course, my fears were all self-generated, and it was a great experience. And after working for the 1999 summer, the Australian firm asked if I would consider coming longer in 2000, and my 3-month commitment turned into 5 months, and I was able to be in Sydney for the 2000 Olympics. After working in Sydney for those 2 summers, I worked another 1.5 years in Saskatoon before I resigned from the Canadian firm and signed a contract with Deloitte Australia and headed back to Australia for 1.5 years, this time in Melbourne. I loved my time in Melbourne, and I met some amazing people. One of my work colleagues became one of my closest friends, and she returned to her home country of Ireland around the same time I returned to Saskatoon to work at Bessemer. After about 6 months, she said, you should come and work in Ireland. Wow, here was another opportunity just dropped in my lap. But I had only been working for my new employer for 6 months, and I knew that I didn't want to be away from home, and in particular away from my dad, who was having some health challenges for a really long time. So I proposed that if Deloitte Ireland was open to a 6-month contract, that I would be interested. Fortunately for me, this worked out, and I headed off to Dublin for 6 months. One of the great things about working in the European Union is that it is very quick to get to a lot of countries. In my 6 months in Ireland, I spent 4 weeks working in Liverpool and 3 weeks working in Siena, Italy. These were both amazing experiences as I worked with colleagues on these engagements from China, Italy, the US, England, and the Netherlands. After Ireland, I decided that I would try another location, but this time closer to home in Canada. And I moved to Edmonton to work for the Auditor General of Alberta. I was able to get on at the Auditor General through a connection with another close friend from my early days with Deloitte in Saskatoon. It was in Edmonton that I met my husband, and after 5 years in Edmonton for me, we relocated to Regina for his work. So when it came time to look for work in Regina, I reached out to another colleague from my early Deloitte days, and I was able to get connected with Crown Investments Corporation. I spent less than a year at CIC before I decided to return to Deloitte, where I worked for another 3 years and had my 2 daughters. Once we had children, we needed what everyone needs, free babysitting. That was a big motivator for a return to Saskatoon to be close to aunts, uncles, and grandparents. Since returning to Saskatoon, I have worked for 2 companies, Fun Motor Group and Saskatchewan Blue Cross. I've been with Saskatchewan Blue Cross for 7 years. I joined them as controller in 2015 and then was promoted to my current role in 2018. While I have just run through my work experience like I'm in a job interview, there was a little method to my madness. I thought that sharing with you that I have had a number of jobs and worked in 6 cities in 3 different countries would demonstrate that you don't always have to take a direct path right from school to one organization and stay there. Now, at Saskatchewan Blue Cross, where I work, there are a number of people who have been with the organization for 30 years or more, and that's amazing to do that, but that's not the only path. You can take a lot of different paths. And so some key things that I've learned along my journey are that you may not know exactly what you want to do, and that's okay. Sometimes you fall into a university, a college, a major, or a job because of where you want to live or because you know what you don't want to do. Great experience can come from choosing a path even when you don't know what the end will look like. You don't have to have it all figured out before you start. Jump at opportunities. I know Erin said, make sure you don't say yes to everything, and I agree, but taking risks can provide opportunities, like it did for me when I said yes to Australia. I met one of my closest friends today while working in Australia, and she happened to be the opportunity for me to get to Dublin. Opportunities lead to more opportunities. Build strong relationships. The majority of jobs that I've had came from referrals from people that I've worked with. If you work hard, do good work, and build strong relationships, countless doors will open up to you. It's okay to detour. I left university and went back. I left and went back to Deloitte 3 times, and it was still not my forever job. I worked in many countries. And I've worked at some organizations for years and some only for months, but I've learned something from every opportunity and they have all shaped who I am. I feel very fortunate to have had all the opportunities and employment experiences I have, and they all started from wanting to play basketball at the University of Saskatchewan. Even though I only played 2 years, this set the path for my journey with many changes of direction to where I am today. So thanks for listening to my story about my journey, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Does anybody have any questions for Kelly? If not, maybe we will go to our first. Oh, sorry, Michelle has a question here. What do you enjoy most about your current job? Asks Michelle Kelly.
Thanks, Michelle. I think what I enjoy most about my current job are 2 things. One are the people that I work with. I have an amazing group of people that I work with. And the second is the variety of work that I do. So no day looks the same, and I really like that. I like that there's, I don't know what I'm gonna do when I get up in the morning every day. So that's pretty great. I see another question here, Erin. What was the hardest part of transitioning from job to job for me? I think it's that anxiety and fear when you walk into a new place and you're like, oh, what's this going to be like? But what I have learned is there's really been nowhere that I've worked that there haven't been great people. There are, you will find gems kind of everywhere you work, and that's pretty amazing to expand my network every time I start a new job.
Oh, one more, it looks like. What's the most challenging part of your job? Asks Amy.
Probably the same thing. That's my favorite part, which is that it's different every day. So it's actually competing priorities, trying to make sure that I'm doing the most important things first. And we have a lot on the go at Saskatchewan Blue Cross right now, which is really exciting, but it also means that every day I'm making decisions about what to do first. So that's probably the most challenging thing.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Kelly. And if you did have a question for Kelly, I believe you are going to be in one of our breakout rooms here, Kelly. So you can certainly ask her some of those questions there as well. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I really liked the parts when you talked about how when you needed to move for sort of life reasons, that you would reach out to people in your network to, you know, help you secure another role. And I think that that's wonderful. I think, you know, what we're doing tonight is obviously networking in a virtual sense, of course. And it's so important to meet people and keep those connections, because you never know where your professional journey will take you. Maybe it's to Australia or Ireland. Very cool. Anyway, thank you again, Kelly. We sure appreciate you sharing with us. And now we're going to go into our first breakout room. The theme of this breakout room is Empower and Inspire. So we would like you to get to know each other in our first breakout room. We hope this activity helps you get comfortable together. This is sort of the beginning process of networking. Let your hair down and engage in the purpose behind tonight's event. Before we begin, I would also like to take a moment to remind everyone that they have important things to say and valuable things to say. So please share and turn on your cameras and mics in the breakout rooms. And I'd like to mention something. It's a phenomenon called Imposter Syndrome. And mentors, I am talking to you too. Imposter syndrome can happen to anyone, but often it does happen to women. Imposter syndrome is that little voice in your head that says things like, I'm not smart enough, or I don't belong here. Everybody in this room is way smarter than me, or I know the answer, but I don't want to say it because I don't want to look stupid. Another wise woman named Deb Davies, who's part of our Connected committee, reminded the room to ignore that imposter voice the first time I attended this event as a mentor a number of years ago. And I think it's as important to share tonight as it was then. And trust me, I needed to hear it then. I also saw a tweet a few weeks ago that reminded me of this event, and I wanted to share it with you. It was from Jamila Jamil, and this is for all of you who are still sitting there thinking, but I am an imposter. This is what the tweet said. It said, Just do it anyway. My answer whenever I am asked about imposter syndrome is to admit that I am an imposter, and I treat it like crashing a wedding. You're in now, have as much fun as possible, and grab all the cake you can before someone throws you out. Lean in and make it a party. So as we go into our breakout rooms, I'm going to remind all of you, students and mentors alike, lean in, grab all the metaphorical cake you can, and make it a party. And we will see you back in the main room at 5:25.
Alrighty, so now I would like to take the opportunity to introduce our next spotlight speaker, Michelle Vandevoorde. Michelle Vandevoorde, Daystar woman, is from Muscoda First Nation, Saskatchewan, where she resided for over 25 years. She is a mother of 3 daughters and 3 sons. She is also a very proud kukum to 4 grandsons who are the reason she works so hard. She started volunteering to be a good role model for her daughters and females in her community. It is also to keep her grandmother's legacy and mother's legacy of volunteering alive in her family. She is the longest serving female firefighter and the first female captain in her department's history. She is very proud to be part of a very active and progressive First Nation volunteer fire department. Michelle received her fire department's Hubert Bear Memorial Award for volunteering, of which she is very proud, as it is named after her uncle. She was honored by her community when she received the Fire Service Exemplary Service Medal with her brothers in the Powwow Circle. Michelle is currently the Executive Director for Saskatchewan First Nation Emergency Management in Prince Albert. They provide fire and emergency training, response and services to First Nations communities and organizations. It is a very challenging but rewarding job. Her team is improving emergency services on reserve, and she is very proud of their success. Michelle's job every day is to support First Nation fire and emergency management training, response and fire services on reserve in Saskatchewan. She sits on the Saskatchewan Association of Fire Chiefs, Public Education Committee, and many others to give a First Nations voice and share the realities of on-reserve fire and emergency services. She also sits on the Saskatoon Emergency Measures Organization working group, which is allowing her to make a real change for First Nations who are evacuated from their communities and displaced to the city of Saskatoon. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Michelle.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry. So hello, everyone. I'd like to start by acknowledging that I'm taking this call from my treaty lands, Treaty 6 territory, the homeland of the Cree, Dene, Nakota, Saulteaux, Ojibwe, and the Métis Nation. And thank you for having me today. So I just wanted to let everybody know that I am very unprepared. I don't have anything written down, so I'm totally winging it today. I'm actually, I don't know if everybody's been watching the news, but right in the middle of a search for a missing child in one of our First Nation communities. So I've been super busy, so I really apologize for not being more prepared. What I would like to do is just tell you a little bit about my story and how I got here. So I grew up in Prince Albert with my parents. My mother was an alcoholic. I have 4 siblings, a brother and 2 sisters. We grew up very poor. One thing that I was very blessed with, and I know it saved my life and kept me and my siblings out of the foster care system, was the day that I was born, my dad quit drinking. So, you know, he's my superhero. He always will be. And I lost my dad to cancer 4 years ago. So, yeah, I think my life would have been much different had he not made that choice for my family. So I'm always forever grateful. moved back to the reserve as a teenager, which was really hard, not fitting in, not growing up on the reserve. It was hard to make friends. We actually only lived on the reserve for a couple of years. It had to do with my mom's treaty status and, you know, marrying a white man and all these different things going back to the Indian Act. So that was a challenge. Later in life, I, you know, got pregnant young, moved back to the reserve with 3 daughters now. And there again, trying to fit in onto the reserve and, you know, not growing up there as everybody else did. And it was hard. It was a struggle. The person who I looked up to the most on the reserve was my grandmother. She's a huge part of why I'm here today and why I'm doing what I am. Volunteering was instilled in me at a very young age. My grandmother, she was the person who, when there was a funeral on the reserve, she was the person the family went to do the cooking for the wakes and the funeral. It's something she did, it's something my mom did, and then it was something that was passed on to me and something that I passed on to my daughters and still do to this day. So when I'm talking to the youth, talking to young people, I always talk about the importance of volunteering and how important it is, because I know for myself, it changed my life. The day I joined the volunteer fire department and joined that brotherhood, that changed my life. And it just goes back to how important it was for my grandmother. You know, had a really rough life. You know, when my kids were young, I was in an abusive relationship. You know, had all these things going on, trying to raise kids, fit in on the reserve. Alcohol was a problem in my life. And, you know, trying to be a role model to 3 young girls and have all this other, you know, still trying to grow up myself was hard, and I was making the wrong decisions. I had a lot of different jobs. I started out, you know, working at the store on the reserve, did that for a few years. You know, and then my life is starting to change, right? And kids are getting a little bit older. I then actually went to school with my mother, and we both received our home care aid certificates together. So that was a life-changing moment for me. Working in my community with the elders really helped start changing my life. Listening and sitting with the elders, and that was huge. And I loved that job. After that, the biggest thing that changed my life around was working at our First Nation community school on the reserve. I started out as an educational assistant. I moved on to be the school coordinator, which, you know, was really different for me and had me doing a lot of different things. But the one thing it really did was made me a role model for all the kids in the school. And that was really important to me. And that's where I really changed my life around and what I wanted to do and how I wanted my children to see me too, not just the kids at the school, but more importantly, my own. Going back to joining the fire department, kind of happened around the same time. Is I remember, so the person who encouraged me to join the fire department was at the time a good friend, and he's just a shoulder tap. Hey, Michelle, come out to the fire department. I think you'd be great. And, you know, you love the fire department. It's so cool, blah, blah, blah. And so I went to my first meeting, and of course it's on the reserve and everybody knows everybody. My uncle was actually the fire chief at the time. And I think everybody thought I was going to have an easier time because of that. But I remember my very first meeting at the fire department, I sat down and my uncle looks at me and singled me out right away. And he's like, oh, hey, boys, you know, we have a female joining the fire department. So everybody has to close the door now when they use the washroom. And like, I honestly didn't even know what to say. I was kind of shocked by his comments. Just meeting some of the people, most of the fire department was actually my cousins, right? But I was shocked. I couldn't figure out where that was coming from and why, I was singled out. But what it proved to me that day was that I was going to have to work harder. I was going to have to prove that I could do what they could do. And during my whole time in the fire department, I've always felt like that, which is sad. But at the same time, as years went on and they realized I was here to stay and it wasn't just, something that I wanted to try out, I gained the respect of every single person on the fire department and took on roles that, other people either didn't want to do or couldn't do, like the role of being the medic on our fire department. So, I'm working directly with patients and MVC calls, and it took a long time. It really took a long time to do that. But with every meeting and every practice and every training that I went to, I worked my butt off to make sure that they knew that a girl could do this job. So over the years, I've seen many girls come and go, and I'm the only one who's stuck it out for the length of time that I have. So during my years on the fire department, my best friend who asked me to come out to the fire department ended up turning out to be my brother-in-law. So I'm sorry, it's still hard to talk about. So Randy was my mentor through my whole career. And my family lost him to cancer last year. So it was a hard year, because after he was diagnosed with cancer, we only had him for 4 months. It was a short battle. The cancer took him quickly. And when we talk about choices in life and how your life is going to end up and where you're going to be, I always believe really comes down to choices. So when I go back to talking about having an alcoholic mother and three other siblings, I was for a while, so was my brother, my sister, and my brother and myself, we grew out of it and, got careers and moved on. But my little sister didn't. And she was married to Randy, and they both drank quite a bit through their lives. So we lost Randy in January of last year. And that was devastating, because he was actually, he was the one who encouraged me to apply for the job that I'm in today. Saskatchewan First Nation Emergency Management. He was actually here before me. And again, shoulder tapped me, hey, Michelle, apply for this job. It's so awesome. And we get to help First Nation firefighters all over Saskatchewan. You got to do this. And I did, and, ended up moving up the ladder quite quickly. And there again, he taught me everything and got me where I was. And after we lost Randy, 6 months later, I lost my sister unexpectedly. It was her alcoholism. So it was a tough year. My family took on the four siblings that Randy and my sister left behind. So I'm raising my nephew right now. My daughters are raising a niece, and my other daughter's raising the other 2 children. But, I look at it as choices that my sister made, and, just not being able to get out of it. But she always had the same choices as, my sister and brother as well. And, we're still overcoming that. But You know, if it wasn't for Randy, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be the associate director of, you know, this great organization that's helping. I'm also the president of the Aboriginal Firefighters Association of Canada. I wouldn't be here either without Randy, you know, shoulder tap and all of it. All of my successes go back to volunteering. So I encourage everybody, whenever you get a chance to help in your community, to, you know, do something extra at school, or, you know, and it doesn't always have to be on social media or seen. I'm living proof that your volunteer work will always pay back tenfold. And I'm a true believer, every time you do something good, it comes back to you 10 times better. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say besides it hasn't been easy getting to where I am. It was a few weeks ago, I was in Ottawa speaking at the International Firefighters Association conference, and I remember I was standing at the back of the room and it was filled with men. There were 2 females in the whole room, and I had to go up at the front and speak. I was shaking so bad, and I felt so out of place because I'm standing there in my ribbon skirt, holding my eagle feather, and I actually took Randy's ashes with me because I wanted to take his ashes to the volunteer firefighter memorial. So I got a standing ovation as I started, and got a standing ovation after I was done speaking. So as scary as that was, and I think that's the most scariest platform that I've spoken on to date. A friend reminded me, and I hold this close to my heart. He said, you know, Michelle, every time that you get up and you speak in front of the people that you get to, you're breaking down stereotypes and, you know, showing people that First Nations people do work. They work hard. You have to stop seeing that drunk person on the side of the road and know that we're here, we help, we volunteer, we're in good careers. And, you know, that really changed my perspective. And I hope I'm a better speaker because of it, because I'm always going to have the people thinking about, like my sister who couldn't overcome her addictions because of, you know, probably the crappy childhood we grew up with, right? Like it's just generational trauma, and everybody has it. It doesn't matter what kind of background you come from. We have things in our lives that will either make us or break us. And each and every day, I believe it comes down to our choices. And I don't know how much time I have. If I went over, I apologize. And should I go to questions, or? And I'm still nervous. I don't even have my camera on, and you can probably all hear it in my voice. I'm still nervous.
Does anybody have any questions for Michelle? If you wanted to put them in the chat now would be a great time.
I think there are a few questions and a few comments in the chat for Michelle.
Yeah, I'm seeing a few comments here. Michelle, your strength is inspiring. I think they're speaking about Randy helped put you where you were meant to be, inspiring. Question, do you have a couple words you say to yourself if you ever struggle to gather that strength? So I know, Michelle, you talked a little bit about how nerve-wracking it was to speak in front of that room of men. What did you say to yourself to gather that strength?
Well, the first thing I always do before a big speaking event is I always smudge, and I always pray, and I'm asking, you know, my ancestors, you know, and I think of my grandmother a lot and my mom, you know, Like just give me strength to get through this, right? So, and most of it is just the smudging helps calm me a lot. So it's using traditional practices for me.
Wonderful. Lots of comments. You inspire me. You did not need to prepare, nailed it. I proved it as a volunteer firefighter too. You are my role model. Thank you for sharing. I'm proud of you. My successes have been from good role models. Another comment, thank you for sharing your story and the importance of volunteering and that it does not need to be seen to be appreciated and meaningful. Incredible story, thanks for sharing. Thank you for sharing and thank you for all the work that you are doing to bring that little boy home.
You guys are too sweet. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Michelle, for taking the time. I can only appreciate how busy and challenging things must be right now. And I think I can speak for everyone saying that, you know, we sure hope that Frank Young is found safely and quickly. And thank you so much for all of the work that you and the organizations you work with are doing to ensure that that happens. Your story was incredibly heartfelt and inspiring. I concur with all of the comments in the chat. And I loved your message about volunteerism. So thank you so much for coming and sharing with us tonight. That's just wonderful. And again, thank you for taking the time because I'm sure things are incredibly busy and stressful right now. So much appreciated.
All right, so thank you so much, Erin, for emceeing our event tonight. We have one last thing that we are going to do, and that is we are going to give away our Connected Empowerment Award. So the idea for Connected originated as an opportunity to link high school females with women mentors from a vast spectrum of career backgrounds. We believe that young women need access to adult role models who are willing to share their stories and career pathways, ultimately creating a culture of support and empowerment between successful women and the young female. Over the years, we have heard from a long list of inspirational spotlight speakers and welcomed amazing mentors to our events. But we soon realized the students who attend our events have just as much to offer. Although they may be young and just starting their career journeys, these young women who attend Connected are strong, inspirational leaders in their communities, whether it be their schools, sports teams, clubs, or in their friend groups. So we thought that we would invite students to nominate a peer who empowers and supports others in their community through their actions. As we know, it does not have to be the loudest or most popular people who make the most significant impact in our lives. Someone deserving of the Connected Empowerment Award demonstrates compassion and support for those around them, has a positive outlook on life, and strives to lift up those around them, leads by example, and creates an inclusive culture. So this year, in the fall, we gave away our Mary Davies Empowerment Scholarship. So this time we decided to open it up to have people nominate other peers who may be deserving of this award. And we had 2 nominees for this award. But not only were these students nominated by their peers, but their teacher also felt the need and the desire to nominate them for this award, as well as she has had a firsthand experience of their leadership in their school. So we have 2 recipients of our 2022 Connected Empowerment Award. And so our award winners are Kayla Kermie and Andreas. These are 2 grade 12 students from Martensville High School. And their teacher believes they truly embody all qualities of the Connected Empowerment Award. She has seen Kayla and Zay show compassion and provide support to others on numerous occasions, whether it be providing a listening ear, a shoulder to cry on, academic support, or looking out for their younger siblings. These 2 rally around their peers when their peers need us the most. Due to various circumstances, these 2 have had every reason to always look for the negative in situations. However, they never use these circumstances as an excuse and rather use them to look for the positive. Like all high school seniors, COVID has greatly impacted their high school experience. Rather than dwelling on what could have been and sitting back and waiting for others to do something, these 2 have made it their mission to make their grade 12 year the best it can be. As the captain of the soccer team, Kayla rallied around her peers and encouraged others to join the team to ensure they had enough players to field a team. As one of only 3 grade 11 and 12 students, Kayla created an environment that made the grade 9 and 10 players feel welcome, valued, and included. She would go out of her way to talk to the younger students in the hallway and work with them to develop their soccer skills. Zay took initiative and decided in order to make the most out of her grade 12 year, she needed to do something. She decided that joining the Student Representative Council would give her the greatest opportunity to make a difference. Since joining, she has been a vocal leader by helping to plan and implement various spirit days and activities. She has proven to be a driving force between many of the school's most successful events so far this year. Both Kayla and Zay lead by example. They are not afraid to put themselves out there, whether they are going through, whether through going to class to explain their project change activities, dressing up for spirit days, or being the first to volunteer when a task needs to be completed. These young women go out of their way to provide an inclusive environment, whether interacting with the students in the life skills program, encouraging others to be involved in project change, encouraging their peers to participate in school events, or including students from multiple grades and activities. Their energy, zest for life, and passion make me want to be a better teacher and a better citizen. These 2 female students go out of their way to make Project Change and Martinsville High School the best place to be. They volunteer tirelessly, not to be the center of attention or to earn praise, but because they truly understand the value and importance of giving back. So please join me in congratulating our 2 2022 Connected Empowerment Award recipients, Kayla Kermie and Zay Andreas. So I believe they are both on with us. So I invite them both to turn their cameras on. So I'm really putting you on the spot here. So I told your teacher you'd have to turn it on. All right.
Wait, where is it? Oh, wait, on my phone or is this computer? Oh, we just can't see ourselves. Okay.
Sorry, we're both crying right now.
Yeah. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Literally speechless right now. We're just crying and just big messes. Oh my God. I don't even know what to say. This is crazy. Well, thank you guys.
Well, congratulations, Kayla and Zay. Reading both of your nominations that you submitted for each other and what your teacher submitted on behalf just proves that you guys are amazing young women. And we hope that, and we know that you guys will go on to do great things. And we hope that in future years, you'll be back as mentors on our connected events and you'll be sharing your stories with the students.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. So that wraps up our connected event. So I just want to thank all of the students who joined us today. I know with COVID and restrictions being lifted, choosing to be part of a virtual event doesn't always sound that great anymore. I know, and even in our offices, we are sick of virtual events, and we are super excited that in the fall, we hope to host an in-person connected again with cheesecake. So if you're not in grade 12, we hope that you're able to join us. Mentors, we hope that you guys are able to join us in person again, because we really miss what our in-person connected event is able to provide for both the mentors and the students who participate. I want to thank our spotlight speakers for joining us tonight. So thank you, Kelly, for sharing your story. Thank you, Michelle, for joining us with everything that's going on in your community right now. We really appreciate both of you being part of our event and sharing your stories with the students. And thank you to our mentors for helping to inspire us all, sharing your stories in the breakout rooms and just being here with us. It's such a great opportunity for these young females in our community to be able to meet such amazing women and learn from them. And I want to thank Erin for being part of our event tonight. She always adds so much to all of our events, and we love being able to work with her. So thank you once again for being part of Connected. And students, we would love to hear from you. Let us know what you thought of our event tonight. Like I said, we hosted it virtually because of the uncertainty with COVID. We hope in the future we're able to do all of these events in person again, but we never know. So we'd love to hear from you what you enjoyed, what you think we could do different in the future, just so that we can constantly make sure that we are doing the best to provide great opportunities for you. And most importantly, provide us with some feedback and you can win a prize. So give the QR code a scan, let us know what you thought of our event tonight, and hopefully you'll win one of our anything cards. So I'll just leave that up for a few seconds. All right, and lastly, be sure to follow us on our socials. If you didn't already, go follow us on Instagram. Be sure you do that. We advertise all of our upcoming programs and events on our socials. Our year is pretty much coming to an end with May just around the corner, but we do have some upcoming programs still available, and we hope you guys are able to join us for those. So be sure to follow us on our socials to see what's coming up. And lastly, one last little Instagram challenge for you. Tell us what your biggest takeaway was from tonight, and what are your dreams, and how will you take what you learned tonight and apply it going forward in your life, both students and mentors. So head over to Instagram, let us know what your thoughts were about our event tonight and what you're going to do going forward to continue this positivity. So once again, thank you, and everyone have a great night.